You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa. Okay. I'm sorry, I went and pushed the last setup. How are you doing, Patrick?
Yes. Yeah, I'm very fine. Thank you.
Are you comfortable? Is your camera set? Can you hear me clearly? Can you see me?
Yes, very loud and clear.
Wonderful.
Maybe from your
Good.
side, you can tell me.
Yes, I see you, and I can hear you too. So, people, we are live on Pan African Daily TV today. I know most of you be wondering that you didn't get a press release or stuff like that, but it's just because we had too much work during this weekend, and yeah, we thought today we should. The whole of this week, we're going to actually be presenting you the new features on the Pan African Daily TV, like the channels that we created, like we told you, the functions of the Pan African Daily, the functions of these channels. We're also going to be giving you a roadmap of how we'll be evolving in this March 2024. Yeah. So we're going to be engaged in a lot of road shows, like, you can see us bust up in your community on the continent or in the diaspora. It is the year for us to go out on mobilization. We all heard it from Professor PLO Lumumba, who said, most of the work has to be done now in action. And so we're carrying the work from the studio in the month of March onto the continent and in the diaspora through our roadshow program. So we want you to pay keen attention. We might be passing by around your community or your country or your city or your region. So we'll give you a spotlight on where we'll be hanging out on the continent. What is the business that is bringing us there? Nothing else but Pan African Daily TV, nothing else but connecting communities together, listen to their stories, expand. As a matter of fact, we're going to be expanding on the Pan African Daily. So, today with me live in the studio is our correspondent and our able PK Kasrim. We want to present the different channels that we've been tirelessly working on for the past months to present to you, because like we say, we trying to start getting into details, trying to reposition the conversation, the topics, and the services of each of these channels. And we would tell you exactly why the need for these channels, what do these channels represent, how do these channels connect and unite Africans worldwide. And all these channels, as you can see and is all going to be focused on Pan-Africanism and more also about business and engagement concerning this channels. Oh my God, I don't know concerning these channels. So yes, Patrick, you're welcome, and I want to greet you. I want to salute you. I want to thank you first of all and congratulate you for the beautiful work that you've been doing in the background. And I think yes, tonight we just want to have to give our audience the overview of the channels, the descriptions, like I said, and the services that we'll be putting on, but also to share a lot of content about our work in March 2024. So, welcome.
Thank you very much. I think this is one of the best opportunity for us to showcase our background work because we have been doing it silently in the background, and it's good to present to the audience so that they can see exactly what has been happening in the background. And this is the best time. So uh, for those who will be around, I'll be able to present, showcase everything, and I believe you'll enjoy.
Wow, thank you so very much. I am also so looking forward to it. And Yeah, we cannot wait to actually bring this background work into the forum. But before we get to that, Patrick, did you watch the conversation with Professor Pierre Olumumba on
Yes,
Thursday?
yes, from the beginning up to the end, all the topics, because from your question, leading questions, Prof was able to answer very many topics, very many uh, issues that has been happening in Africa and around the world for the past almost three months. So it touches on it touched on almost everything. Yeah, and also we tried also to describe each and every topic in relation to the channels that we have already created. Yes.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a very short presentation. We're not going to take time. How much time do you think that we're going to do tonight?
Because sometimes it's very difficult to read the time, but it's more than 30 minutes if I can just say, because if you go from one topic, we'll have to relate with the all other topics that we've been discussing. So it can be 30 to 45 minutes. Yes.
Okay, good. Thank
Yeah.
you. But let me just greet the audience and our community here. We have very loyal, faithful audience that are watching us all the time. Each time we go live, these are the ones that actually prove that they've subscribed on the channel. So you see, I
Yes.
know a lot of them are not in the chat yet, but I can see our beautiful sisters are here as number one. Reparation is right here. Thank you so very much. And we have Queen
Yes.
Cheryl. Queen Cheryl is here.
Yes.
So I would just ask the both of them to be the chat directors for tonight. So you're gonna control the chat and communicate it. The most important thing in the chat group is to share and to bring out to our attention questions that we might oversee them or overlook them. So you flash them to the screen and we bring it to the audience. Should that be the case? And
Yes.
if there are reflections in the background, you just point our attentions to it. So that will be very fine for us. Thank you very much for ladies. Okay, so I think we have to go into the the presentation for today. So what is it that you want to present to us, Patrick? What have you
Yes.
been
Thank
doing?
you. Yeah. So I think from our previous discussion, we felt that it's very important for us to come up with the six channels. The importance of the six channels to ensure that our audience consume all this information uh, exhaustively, because sometimes if we go for 2 hours, you'll discover that it will be very difficult for members or the audience uh, to digest all the conversation in 2 hours. So we decided to come up with more channels. Apart from the main channel, we'll have five more channels so that we can try to cut them into small pieces in relation to the topics. So it will be so very easy for the audience to touch on these topics. Sometimes, because of time and even other factors. So most of our audience find it difficult to go through the 2 hours conversation. So felt that maybe this is the best opportunity for our audience to digest each and every topic in relation to their area of interest. So if if a member is so very comfortable with the African politics and other issues, they'll go to specific channels. If they are so very passionate about the African spirituality, we will present there. The content will be readily available there, and we have even from the diaspora, we have tourism uh, and all that. So I'll try to cover all these things in relation to what we have been discussing. Even from the previous conversation, the last conversation about Professor Pilo Lumumba, I try to showcase them in bits. So instead of having that 1 hour, we can have specific topics, and these topics will be in different channels, so you can still go through the channel and watch them. If it's a 5 minutes conversation, 10 minutes conversation, they'll still see them on those channels. So that's why I implore on all members to subscribe to these channels. They're very new, they're very fresh, And as we move on with the time, they'll still seeing the updates, more content being updated there. So that's why we have created the link tree, that channel, so that whenever they click that link, it will show them all the channels. So it will be so very easy for them to subscribe instead of presenting one channel at a go, one channel. So for them, it will be so very easy. Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Because
Yeah,
I think, like you said, the main purpose was to actually, like we say, the continent of Africa and its people worldwide is like a big
yes,
elephant. And you cannot
yes,
just eat an elephant at once. You have to chop it into
yes,
pieces before you can consume it. And we realize that there's just a lot going on. Africans are woke now. They engage in a lot of things. They're asking a lot of questions. It was not possible for us to bundle all these questions and put it on channel six, on channel one, this one that we were on,
yes,
isn't it?
yes, 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 very true.
Mhm.
So I think that's the reason why these six channels are so very important, very, very important because of time effect. Uh, Most of these channels will cover specific topics. So if Maponga comes in with a specific topic about African spirituality, so we'll directly go to channel number 6 and have that conversation. So if there's another topic, if we'll be speaking about African politics, like the African Union and all that, we have already have that content directly presented to you. So you'll never be struggling to scroll through the 2 hours conversation to get that part of the conversation. So we are trying to ease that struggle for the audience. So it will be so very easy for you to digest this information. We'll also explain it this more tomorrow also.
Wonderful. All right. I think you just go through the presentation now, so that I think we don't have more than 15 or 20 minutes left.
Yes,
So you give a rundown, just an overview. I mean, the channels, we're going to start breaking them as time goes on, because I already have a question from
yes,
Queen Cheryl, who is saying six channels,
yeah.
six different topics. What are the six different topics for each channel? So I think that
Okay,
actually brings you into what you want
yeah,
to explain today, isn't it? Do you want me to
exactly.
bring the presentation?
Yes, yes.
All right, I would have to put us in the question answer section. All right, okay.
So as you can see, I'm trying to scroll down up there. So this the link tree. I wish or I believe you have already shared the the link tree link on the channel on this comment section so that they can click that part and subscribe. So I'll try to go through the link tree and all the six channels and try to describe each and every part of these six channels. Yeah. So as you can see, that one, that's the link tree, Pan African Daily TV. That's the link tree. If you click that link, you'll see uh, that channel, that presentation, as you can see here from our screen. So it will be introduced with the Pan African Daily TV. We educate, we empower, and then we will evolve. We are Africans. So from the six channels that you can see from the screen, your screen there, the first one is the main channel, which is Pan African Daily TV channels with over 102,000 subscribers. So this is the main channel where we'll be having a lot of this conversation, production, and everything. If there's a stream, we can also go live on these other respective channels if there's a specific topic that you like to discuss. So that's why it's so very important for us to subscribe to all these channels. So we have the first channel one is the main channel, the Pan African Daily TV channel. The second one is Pan African Daily TV channel 2. The channel 2 will be dealing with the African spirituality, culture, and tradition. So on this channel, we'll try to present all content that's related to African spirituality, culture, tradition, and other topics that's related to that channel, to that this topic. So that's why we have already introduced that part. So, for example, this is an example for channel 2. So, on this channel 2, you'll see content from different speakers, guests, who will be try to explain more about African spirituality and also religion, religion, decolonizing religion, and all that. So, this is the main channel. So most of the content here, you know very well that most of the speakers here, uh, Maponga, who is so very passionate about African spirituality, will also be having other members from our team, like Katrina Shindi, who will also be discussing about this topic. Also, then other speakers will also come in and discuss. Like for example, we have other speakers will be speaking specifically in terms of culture and tradition. So it's so very important for that. So all the content that we've been watching and all that, we'll try to feed them on this channel too. So so if you are so very interested in African spirituality and all other and these other related topics, you'll get all these in this one part. So instead of watching the 2 hour conversation, you'll be able to get a summarized the next track from the main conversation into this channel too. So it'll be so very easy for you to digest this conversation. Then the second part channel, the third channel, because we have the main channel, channel 1, the channel 2, then the channel 3 is the understanding African language. So in channel, it's so very important because we want to ensure that Africa we have a common language. So we're trying to explore which language specifically is so very common amongst Africans. As we move towards the unity of Africa, you know, you can see even the one currency, one visa, then one language is also part of this conversation. So if we focus more on understanding our African languages, especially sometimes we have those people from Eastern Africa, from West Africa, from Southern Africa. So we'll try to pick some languages that we feel are very common in those areas. Then we try to understand here. So we'll have some speakers. We'll have more from Tanzania, for example, coming to introduce the significance of Swahili language. We'll get other members from West Africa who will be might be speaking about Pidgin, the Yoruba and other South Africa, all that, all those languages. So under this channel 3, we'll be able to discuss more about and or to understand more about African languages. So it will be so very important, yeah, for us to know more about our languages. Then the channel 4 will be discussing about travels and tourism. This is an important aspect because sometimes uh, um, we most of the speakers rarely discuss more about the travel and tourism because we will discover that uh, different people have come up with different ways in which they can showcase their level of Pan-Africanism in terms of touring from one country to another to show in how um, diverse Africans, the African culture situation are through tourism, moving from one place to another. Yeah, and that's so very important. So this channel will cover this topic. It's so very very important. Yeah. So an example is you see the Wode Maya moving from one place to another, showcasing about what's happening in different part of the world. Yeah, recently we saw Maponga moving to Jamaica. So, and then he tried to show us exactly how those people from the African from that part of the world are faring on and all that. So, we might end up uploading some of the content from these people who have been traveling from one part of the world to showcase how Pan Africanism is playing an important role in this aspect. Then we have channel 5. So channel 5, you can see even from the logo is Umoja wa Africa Festival. This is the latest one because in June we'll be having that festival. But for channel 5, we will be discussing more about festival, lifestyles, and entertainment. So apart from this boredom of having listening to this conversation, we'll get more of entertainment from different audience. So uh, if uh, if you are very passionate about entertainment, you can come in and showcase your talent through entertainment and even other lifestyles, even like we have fashion and all that. So this is another way in which you can showcase. For the festival, this is an ongoing activity. We'll be having this festival, Moja Festival, and more of this conversation will be discussing here on this platform. So channel 5 is so very important specifically for that. Then the last part here is the channel 6. So for channel 6 we'll be discussing more about the diaspora, the history, identity, and preparation. So for diaspora, you can understand that we have Africans from all around the world. So, and that's so very important because apart from Africa, the homeland, we need to understand more about what's happening in the Caribbean, in the US, in the UK, because most Africans are already living in that part of the world. So, we'll be discussing more about this topic on Channel 6. And you understand that for the diaspora plays an important role in terms of connecting uh, with the motherland. Most of our human resource, that the main reason behind the growth of the main continent. So it's so very important to discuss that conversation. And these people from the diaspora must feel part and parcel of this part of campaign, the Pan African from the Pan African Daily TV. Then we'll also be discussing about history. So for history here, um, for example, you see Professor James Moll having a campaign, a tour campaign whereby you'll be traveling uh, from US to Egypt to Ghana, and also try to explain why it's so very important for us to discuss to connect uh, the two continents. Then also be discussing about identity, our identity uh, that also relates with the how uh, the history, the history and identity is almost one and the same. Then we'll be having reparation. This is so very important because we have some factors that affect most of our members in the diaspora. So we'll be discussing more about this topic as we move forward. So maybe I think this just a brief topic about that. So if you have not yet joined, you can click that link. Click that link uh, on Linktree. We have already provided there. Then subscribe, share with your audience. Click that Linktree, then share with your audience for them to subscribe. It will be so very interesting, so very captivating. I'm assuring you that all these conversations are going to be real time, real time content. So stay prepare for that. Cheryl say who will be bringing content to tourism channel. Yeah. So for tourism channel will have very many people. They will come automatically. They'll just come. You can also be part of this conversation also. Come up with your showcase part of what's happening in your area. That's part of tourism. Yeah, because this is an online platform. Because uh, tourism is such a way that people from the continent and other parts of the world will be able to consume this information from your area. So it's so very important. Then the production side talks about Swahili subtitle on the main channel will be okay. Yeah, I think that's a very good observation. A Swahili subtitle on the main channel will also be great. So I think that one will cover on understanding the channel. I think the channel 2 covers channel 3 covers that very clearly. So maybe if you can include a subtopic, understanding African language, the Swahili, then we have Pidgin, the main languages. So very important. Yeah. Then Marsha is saying, do we need a channel in reference to industry, economics, and investment? Yes. Yeah. So very will also work on that even in agribusiness. Agribusiness is also very important. Yeah. You remember in our previous conversation, Dr. Tata, Emmanuel Tata, also discussed more about agriculture, and will be coming more to explain that on that topic. So that topic is already there. We'll try to fit in those six channels.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. I mean, that was quick, that was fast, and we still have a short time left. I
Yeah.
just want to reiterate or to comment
Yeah.
on the work. Um, and it's a very, like you see, everybody is saying it. It's a big milestone. It's a big thing,
Yes.
even though it always looks small. It's the same thing we started with Channel One here, and it just looked like
Yes.
small, but today it's just exploded. That's why we had to break down the different topics, connect the target groups that actually love this kind of content. Because you see, Pan African Daily is almost becoming just like a political channel where we talk only about the challenges and we're not giving the audience and African solutions. So
Yes.
these different topics that the different channels is actually the solutions to all what we've been discussing about. So Marshall, your question, all the channels has to do with business and economics. We cannot talk about culture when it doesn't involve economics. We cannot travel and tourism is economics. Why do people travel? People just travel for business reasons. Taking services from one place to the other, it's already business deals that they're doing. So economics and business is everything included, from culture, from history, from travel, from festivals to everything. That's exactly the practical solutions, because what we've been doing on the Pan African Daily is giving a concept, but the practicality of it, people don't know how to go about with their information. All right. When we talk about the challenges in the political arena and we talk about the situation in Mali and we talk about the new leadership in Mali, all right? Now, we have to put behind a situation where, how to travel, for instance, it's a whole big problem for the diaspora, for Africans, even on the continent. If we see the challenges that Maponga Joshua went through, it's just because we did not have to educate ourselves on how to travel. Africans were never travelers. We were really comfortable on the continent. But now the world is becoming global. It means we will have to move services from A to B. There are a lot of things we have to know. Travel schedules, flights connecting the Caribbean, America. There are new innovations that are coming up, and we are not informed. So the different channels is actually teaching Africans the practical knowledge of what we've been discussing, of what our mentors, our teachers are talking about. What they talk about is knowledge. But what we do on these different channels is the practical aspect. Let's just say the business behind the knowledge. That's what these different first channels are all about. Um, so a channel for business and investment is automatically included, because when we talk about travel and tourism, we're not only going to say, okay, you can travel, for instance, to South Africa. But when you travel to South Africa, what are you doing in South Africa? That's the business behind it. So you see, all the tour companies are interested in this channel. Cheryl asked that question. Airlines that are going there with prices and tickets, immigration policies on how to travel. Do you need a visa? You don't need a visa. Where to stay? We know we have a lot of Airbnbs in there, and this business is not on the platform. So that's why it makes Pan African Daily as just a talking and knowledge place. But now we want to give the services behind the knowledges for Africans to explore not just only to travel, but also to explore that as a business opportunity. Now that we are connecting, we are uniting. There's a lot of business behind every talk that we're doing. But if we don't bring the business in a tangible format, now we can begin to understand that there are a lot of Airbnbs in Jamaica, in America, that are run by Black people, but we don't know. If we don't put out a channel for travel and information and education, we'll not be able to know which are the African brands that are operating Airbnbs. Where can I just buy a ticket? Do I need a visa? What are the regulations? What are the immigration policies? If I'm transiting from one country or the other, during the airport of the transit, do I need a transit visa? Now that we are connecting, now that we begin to do business between one another, we have to give the solutions behind it. And I think it's the right of Africans to know that. Like I said, a brother reached out to us in Jamaica when Maponga was stuck, and he gave his contact and his Airbnbs that he's running out there,
Yes.
and he offered to host Maponga for free as a service, taking care of him. How many Africans are running such businesses that Africans don't even know? And that's why we keep complaining that, we're giving our monies, we're putting our monies into different platforms, because Africans don't know. Of course, Sherry, I love your question very much. Your question is very, very pertinent, and that's why I was coming to it. Will you be able to advertise business on the channel? Yes. That's the reason for these channels. These channels, if we have the channel, for instance, travel and tourism, of course, everybody that would bring content there, are we going to advertise the Airbnb for free? No. So if you have your Airbnb and you know that you are attracting Africans, your target is Africans, then of course you will be the sponsor for us to share your Airbnbs and connect Africans. Okay. Even airlines, for instance, are we going to just say, all right, flight for Ethiopia this week is this without Ethiopia? Why do we choose Ethiopia? So now we want to brand Pan African services made by Africans for the people. So we have to give those services a platform. So, yes, you're very correct. It's the same thing like spirituality that we're talking about. Spirituality is the same thing. Now we mix the topics on channel one, because we can start with politics, and then you see we enter questions with spirituality, and then we talk about travel in the questions, and then we talk about events in the questions. So why don't we just break the individual topics and put it? And I think that's good business, not just business of talking, but the business behind the knowledge of talking. So actually, we're really creating, and I think all this, the reason why we came to creating this channel is just to respond to the same questions you have been asking on. The idea to create the channels, we came through a review of the whole questionnaires of what Africans want to see, what Africans want to do for the 4 years that we've been sitting on Pan African Daily TV. And that's why we had to come to bring the solutions, because not every one solution fits the different contexts. I take the example of Professor PLO that Patrick was talking about. If you watch the conversation with Professor PLO, he touched a lot of things. He touched travel, he touched politics, he touched economics, he touched business, he touched investment, he touched education. All right. There's too much context or too much content is just in just 1 hour. Too much information. But all those sectors of what he was touching has a business behind it. He talked about an investment platform. Now, it's just a talk, it's just a knowledge. But what is the business for Africans behind the investment platforms? That's what we're going to be talking about on the different channels, of course. It's really going to be for people who want to advertise. If you have tourism services, tour operators, um, content creators, skidders that are doing anything in terms of travel and connecting and knowledge building, then you have to get that on the specific um, channel. Somebody asked, are we going to be streaming? Of course, we are going to be streaming. Patrick just said it live on those channels. And be aware of the fact that we need these multiple channels because of what the people that were operating on the platform like YouTube, the lessons that they taught us on channel one just gave us another brilliant idea to create multiple channels because you see, for most of the times, they silence our channels or community standard because we're just mixing the context, all the content that we were mixing with a lot of things. So we have to divide them. It is also good for us to be able to specifically target those that would be. I think the last question I will answer before I give it to you, because we're rounding up. Cheryl talked about the youth. The youth in focus is a whole dynamic topic in its own, but the youth would also be talking on the different topics, but with the perspective of the youth and their businesses. We will be talking in terms of the seniors and the elders. That's why we'll be doing the hosting, the interviews, the conversations. The youth would exactly do the same, and they're already putting their structure together. I think they'll be launching anytime soon this week. They'll be coming live. Their supervisor is right here. The supervisor is right here. Marshall Lawrence is here, and they've built their own particular topics, but everything is going to be related. If not, we're going to be distracting each other. We want to see more youth create businesses. We want to see more youth engage in income generating businesses. We want to see more youth operating and knowing how to make business on the digital space that is going to be the future. We want to see more youth engage in agribusiness and all those things that we were talking about as a solution. So it's really time now to get into the business behind the knowledge that we've been sharing on Pan African Daily TV. Am I right to say so, Patrick? Over to you.
Yes. If yes, very true. If I can add from what Marshall said about business, economics, and all that. On that topic, I think we can handle it on channel 4. As you can see, you have already explained about the idea of travel and tourism. It's also part of economics. Also part of economics, about the situation that's happening around the world, like politics. You see the what's happening in West African country, the revolution and all that. We have leaders who will be speaking about those topics. The agribusiness will also be part on this channel, main channel also. So this because it will summarize all everything. So the main channel also try to expand more about situation happening in Africa, the history, the politics and government, the agribusiness. Then for economics, we'll deal with also with the travel and tourism because you see even business and economics are almost the same. So the two channels will try to correlate in some way. Yeah. Then
Yeah.
somebody asked about if the is it if I can see uh, if the members, the executive group will be participating, or will the young executive participate in any of the channels, or have their own channels. So they'll participate. In fact, they are looking forward to that one. They'll be coming live and discuss in the area of interest. So you'll see them trying to share uh, stories about what's happening in the ground, on the ground there, and even try to deal with specific topics. If African spirituality, if the youth, and everything. So they also come in and discuss. So it will be so very important also on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great. I think I know it's a little bit kind of hard, Patrick, for people to understand. It's a normal thing, but I think
Yeah.
we are very, very grateful that we could come out with this milestone. It's a milestone and an achievement
Yes.
because every other thing is just to now narrow the same concepts into fitting into the different platforms. But the main idea that Africans have to wake up to, I want to say it and I want to repeat it again, is getting used to building wealth and making money.
Yes.
There is no system in the world that doesn't work on finance.
Yes.
When we talk about the Jews all the time, we talk about, oh, look at how they build their situation, their communities. Look at how they are working together. We, I mean, it's like in an African thing that when it comes to Africa, and that's the narrative that the Eurocentrism have put into our heads. It is always it's always like when you talk about business, you should never mention Africa when it has to do with business. And that's why business for Africans sound like exploitation. When you give Africans something and you say, no, this is a charity thing, Africans feel comfortable with it because we've been taught that we are not equal to making business and doing deals, even though the most richest people in the world are Africans. But the narrative of the West and the media has been that Africans is a dependent continent. Africa is a consumer continent. So Africans are never projected as people that, are giving paychecks to people. Africans are never projected as people that tour for businesses. So that's the reason, for instance, I'm just using the example of the tourism channel. That's the reason why we need to project Africans that are into tourism, that are influencing policies that affect the tourism sector, that are into business of tourism. Because when you hear about travels in Africans, the picture that comes to your mind is always refugees fleeing their countries. When they talk about Africans that are traveling, it's always going to be showing the Mediterraneans and Africans that are dying at sea. That's everything that has to do with narratives when it comes to traveling and Africans. I bet you will never see any African on any media that is traveling for business. So it's as if all Africans just always travel because they run out of the continent. That's why we keep talking about our young people brain drain, and there's like Africans don't have a right to do business. Because even if you have the right to do business with another country, the visa regulations are going to limit you. So what they keep doing, these people keep doing, is draining the money from Africans. Africans don't have a right to travel because they are not looked upon as business people. Africans are looked upon as refugees, as people that, dying at sea. But you will never see Dankote, they bring statistics about Dankote and his business travel and engagement. Do you ever see that? So that's the narrative we need to change. And when we need to change it, we're not only going to discuss the knowledge of the topic, we're going to put the services of the topic because that's the only way. When we brand African Airlines, when we brand ticket sellings for Africa, when we brand visas, when we brand tour operators, when we brand the biggest industry that gives money to the continent is restaurants, is entertainment. Europeans discovered and they love Africa, not even because of resources. Professor Pielo Lumumba said it the other day. It is because of the lifestyle of the African. But where is the lifestyle? We cannot discuss lifestyle without showing it, without putting the business in the platform. We cannot discuss how Africans are traveling and going from one place and doing business without that. We are already so invested when we begin to use even the language of the colonizers and putting it into our own mouth. But like, that's why it is so strange when we talk about business, when we talk about investment. For some Africans, it's like, oh, Pan African Daily is coming out to start getting money from us, and this and that. Of course, we need to. How are we going to survive when we don't talk about money? When everything has to be the church and the donation and the sharing and the helping and the this, we will never grow. We're going to remain talking and giving the knowledge, but not putting the tools that would enhance this knowledge and transform it into business. Is that correct, Patrick?
Yes, very true. Very, very true. I've seen Cheryl's asking about how the subscribers or members, those who are watching, how will they be active participants during this conversation? So I think that question is so very important because sometimes the audience also need to be active participant in some way. So you remember sometimes back we had the call in from different part of the world people. You allow people to discuss through calls. So that one is so very important, especially on topics that they feel so very interested in. They are so very interested in. So they try to explain. So apart from just following the live conversation, sometimes they can request for a call, then they give opinion about what's happening, or any topic that's related to that discussion. So direct communication with the audience is also very important, also very important. So we'll be having that uh, kind of conversation. And also, if you are an audience here and you have a specific topic that you like to discuss, you can liaise, you can request, then we bring you in, then we discuss. That's part of interconnection between the main and the audience. So it'll be part and parcel of this conversation. Yes.
I think let me just add to what you said. Cheryl is asking a very important, and I want to thank Cheryl and Reparations and all of you that are watching us and in the chat, but particularly because we delegated you to be the chat moderator. So that's why I think he's kind of like paraphrasing the questions that the audience would ask and bring it to us in a question form. This is a very pertinent question. Look at what Cheryl say. Other than listening to topics of interest, we, the subscribers, how do we participate? Do you get the point? You understand? Of course, calling in is one of the services. That's okay. Bring in your questions here in the chat. That's also a solution. But I think if I try to get what Cheryl means, is talking about the business aspect of it. How do they become a part of it? Of course, you
Yes.
as a subscriber is because you want knowledge of interest and opportunities that the Pan African Daily TV is offering. So now you see exactly that's the point. That's very critical what Cheryl is saying because that's the services that we are talking about in these channels. And that's why you asked if it is possible to advertise, and we said yes. If you look at a topic and a channel of your interest, of course you can be a partner on that channel. You can be a partner means if you have projects, you can present your projects. Even on the mother channel, we've always been asking subscribers and people, do you have an idea? You want to present your idea? So these are all services that subscribers would get. But we know on these platforms, subscriber get information that they would otherwise pay a lot of money to get it. That's the truth. You get reliable information. If not, I wouldn't subscribe to anything that is not of my interest. Now you realize why we break even the channels into African spirituality because African spirituality is not only going to deal with the traditions and of the African spirituality itself. It's also going to treat religious topics because we have a lot of our people that are Christians that are not African spiritualists, and it's okay. On the African Spiritualities channel, it's not about that. We're not going to touch topics of whether it's Muslim or all
Yes.
the religions that are operating on the continent of Africa. But the difference is we would show the speakers and the guests and the authors and the teachers or whoever, they would present to you how African spirituality is different from these other religious sectors. And that's what we've never done. What we've done on all our platforms is either blaming Christianity, blaming religion, blaming the colonizers for using these religions today, but we have never given an alternative. We have never said, okay, instead of just blaming, look, this is how African spirituality works. And if you like, or you're an African and that topic is interesting to you, you have a podium now. Because before we never had. So everything that we are producing is an alternative and a solution. So now we are going to begin to see what? We're going to begin to see a lot of assemblies that are focused on African spirituality. And that's what is already happening. A lot of churches, even presently as we speak, are already transforming their ministries. And now they now start talk about ancestral worship. They talk about libations. They connect the spirituality of the African spirituality. So basically, it is for us Africans, instead of just complaining, to give solutions to Africans. And what Pan African Daily is doing is the first ever channel that we're trying to put this solution oriented on the different targets, trying to bring the African creators together, give them a channel like a channel. What is the channel for Umoja wa Africa? Is 5?
That
Channel 5, right?
channel, is channel 5. Yes,
Okay,
channel
you
5.
see,
Yes, I can
channel,
see if I switch, it disappears here. Yeah,
I'm sorry. So
yeah,
you
that's
see,
something that
channel
I've
5,
noticed. Yeah, channel 5.
channel 5 is about event. It's about
Yes,
and this event
festival.
gives the
Yes,
opportunity for we Africans in the talent creative industry to be able to market their businesses. So that's why I said everything on the channels is going to be exactly a solution. We know a lot of young Africans that are into music. Now, on
yes,
this channel one, we don't show the different artists that are coming up because we've been talking about Pan-Africanisms. And remember, even all of us here, we gave them the permission to start creating Pan-African music,
yes,
Pan-African films, Pan-African everything, songs, Pan-African churches, Pan-African this. Once you evaluate from a new concept to a new concept, you have to give people the platforms to operate. We cannot be talking about the Africa we want, and we are not giving Africans the platform to showcase. We cannot be talking about African spirituality when we don't have African spirituality churches. So, but we keep just always repeating the problem and putting the blame. Now, what we're doing with these different channels is giving the platforms to showcase Africans that are operating in African spirituality, to give you their timetable of worship, to invite them to the platform, to set their programs that they will be able to speak directly to those that are interested in African spirituality. We could not do it on Channel One. Channel One is the mother channel where we talk about everything. On Channel One, when we bring topics like that, it's going to get into a clash of religion and this and this and that, and people feel offended and people feel personally attacked. It's okay because we were never used to, because we never had a platform. But now we have African spiritual guardians that are going to come here on the African Spirituality channel and teach you the difference between religion and African spirituality, between Buddhism, between Catholicism, between every other religions of the earth. They will show you the difference. And so, for people that are interested, Africans that are interested, they will be able now to make a choice to say, oh, I never knew because I never had the opportunity. Now I know where I can follow. Now I know where I can, relate. So Judaism, thank you, Mr. Parker. Judaism, yes, all this. Now we know that we're evolving into a continent because what we sat down with about with Patrick and we thought about is like we are trying to even also oppress Africans, not giving them the right to choose what they like by trying to give a pathway, like to create a path. If you are not like this, then you're like this. Now, what is the difference between us and nationalists? What is the difference between us and colonialism? What is the difference between us? Like Africans are beginning to colonize Africans again. No, we have to give Africans the alternative, and Africans choose what they want to belong to. But we're not going to build hate because no, I'm not a Muslim. Then I have to hate my brother that is a Muslim. That's not freedom, as a matter of fact. But the thing is, we had never given the Africans the choices of being Africans. We have always operated under different continental events. It's the first time that we're beginning to address topics of African spirituality, business, travel, agribusiness, immobilian, science and technology, creativity, tourism. These are all businesses. If we don't showcase it, nobody is going to believe you Africans that you have wealth. That's what the Jews do. You see the productions. We don't see it. We hear the knowledge about who we are supposed to be, but we don't have the platforms that this is who we really are. I hope, I know it's difficult, like I said, but I think by time as we break in and take your questions, it will make things more easier for you. There are a lot of Africans creating these kind of platforms that we're saying. We know Africans that are creating their own YouTube chat, YouTube now. We know Africans that have created apps that are WhatsApp. We know Africans that have created a lot. Why do you see them? We always talk, no, we don't have our own, we don't, but there are a lot that are doing it. So channels like this are actually going to prove to you that Africans are great. Look at what they are doing. You want a service on money transfer, there's an African operating an app for money transfer. So put your money in that app, okay? And the app person that is going to present is going to pay Pan African Daily to do that. Oh, we have a designer in African Kentes. Yes, look at it. You want to buy designers made by, because China is faking everything. You look, even our drums, Chinese is doing it. They go to the continent, they buy it all, and they go back and sell it to Africans again. We don't want that to happen. We want to give up African creators, carvers, everything that is made by Africans, the possibility for them to have a platform to sell their services so that Africans can put their money where their communities are. Mhm. Patrick,
Yes.
was that hard? Let's just but
Yeah.
say.
So it was very, very, very powerful, and you elaborate so very perfectly well.
So I think mhm. There's still another question here still coming up from Cheryl. I don't know. Will the channel be live at different times? Patrick.
Okay. Yeah. I think because of, since we have started it, we'll try to explore that feature. But at the moment, maybe we'll try to see if there's a topic on specific subject. So instead of having a conflicting audience, for example, uh, we are trying to go live at this time, then at the same time we have another discussion. So we discover that some members might end up missing a lot from these two live streams. So that's why it's so very important to have conversation from one stream, then this one will be covered later from another stream. I think that one will be. But as we move forward, as all these things grow, everything is very possible.
I think that question is very important. Okay, I see your young executive leader is asking a very good question out there. Do you want to take the answer for Eugene?
What about news? News is everything that's related to all the topics that you have already covered. So, for example, uh, we have news on politics and government, main channel. We have news on diaspora. We have news covers all the six channels. So all these are news. Anything that's related to different topics, these are just news. It's not that there's that notion that news is only about politics, but everything that's related to tourism, diaspora, uh, uh, African spirituality, these are news. People will be speaking about these topics. These are news. So all this channel will cover all these news in relation to the main content. So if Maponga speaks about African spirituality, that's news. If Prof PLO, like the other day, spoke about um, the situation in Congo, situation in West Africa, and even he also tried to explain what is doing in the foundation. These are just news. These are news in some ways. It's not. It should not even be specifically about some other things. Then we might have some other news that are not here, but random news. Random news are an event that happen in a specific period of time, then they disappear. So, like the other day, we had the Afcon. So we tried also to share stories about what's happening with the Afcon, these matches and all that. Then, like yesterday, we had a station about the Nollywood actor, Mr. Ibu, who was dead. So we can also try to explain that event because it's something that happened in a short period of time and then it disappear. It's not something that it's part of the topic, like uh, the death of somebody will appear as a topic. No, that's not the case. Then you remember we recently had the death of former Tanzanian president. Uh, so these are just news that will come and disappear. We also remember sometimes back 2 years or 3 years ago we covered about Magufuli. So we can't even have a channel about geology, but because people die every day, and if we we try to discuss more about this, it will be more. It will make some people become very sad in some way because these are just part of life. So news, we have some news that are very random that we just cover, then they disappear. But we have uh, main topic. These are just news in some way, like African spirituality. These are something that appears almost frequently. Then we have other issues that talk about family, marriage, and relationship. That there, we can also discuss about that part. All these are just news. I think hope
Absolutely.
answered Eugene. Go ahead.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think you did. Just to add to that, you know, I like the way the questions are coming up because these are the difficulties to understand when we come out with an innovation like that. Okay. It is a difficulty for people to add. That's why we're really calling you to push all the questions because it looks like difficult things. It looks like really difficult what we're doing here. Like, wow, 6 channels and all these topics. How is it going to? Please ask any question. The every knowledge starts by asking a question. Once you ask the question, particularly you ask the right question, you're going to get the right answers.
Yeah.
So we need you to ask us as much as more. We're going to continue on this topic this week, and the youth in focus is also going to come up live. We're going to be talking about our partnerships that are very, very coherent. I can already announce it. Like, for instance, Pan African Daily TV is going to be the main media that would be following up the Pilen O Lumumba foundations in the 50 countries and in the diaspora. If you go to their website, they already put us as their main media partner. And we're going to see a lot of them. Professor James Moore is already engaging Pan African Daily as the media partner for his cultural and historical tours. Okay, so you already see we're covering that sector of culture and history and tourism. And if you look at the channel, For instance, that one of Professor James, you have tourism in it. So it's going to go on travels and tourism. You go on diaspora and history. It's going to fall on diaspora and history. We go to education. It's going to be everything, but it's just that if I need a content, that is just that, because what we know, Africans, we don't have a structure. That is why we're doing a lot of things. But now we are putting this channel, putting a structure. When we say this week, coming up live, on the travel channel with Cheryl, and or this, with reparations, we touch your topic. We touch your topic, and I think you're smiling because on history, culture, identity, and reparations, that is channel 6, the sixth region of Africa, the diaspora. Because we have a problem, we have a big a problem of identity with our diasporas that are tracing their roots, that have cultural issues, that are trying to relocate to their root countries. And these are the people, and they have a huge history. They have built a history out of Africa as they were enslaved. Who talks about that? We don't talk about that. That's why we have a lot of challenges between us, because we don't know the history of the diaspora. So somehow we don't respect the diaspora for their contributions. Imagine, just take it like this: a child that is enslaved. You went and built another people's house, and now you are wanting to come back to your mother's house. Now, the house that you built, you're asking for reparations to go back to your mother's house. That's how simple reparation is. But now, when we don't break these things under a particular channel, we'll be mixing everything. I mean, we're super intelligent human beings that we've been accommodating all this channel in a mix kind of thing. But it is time for us to put a structure on Pan African Daily that will actually address straight things that we're talking about. Okay. So I think that's a very a key point. Family family is a very important topic, and family is going to come under the topic of African spirituality, because, like, I think somebody said it here, reparations say African spirituality is just the way of life of the African, and how to respect nature in humanity. Simple. So the way of life of the African, relation in relation to humanity in everything, family comes play a big role. We already talked upon here on so many times that we need a channel that connects our diaspora and the continental, or even the continental, in terms of marriages. But where do we have that channel if we don't put it under one? We can't do it on channel one. So we'll discuss our family affairs on African spirituality. We're going to discuss counseling. Look at our just the single parenthood, single mother manhood. Maponga is already on the road show with men conference. Now we need women to be advisors, because what he's doing on that conferences with men is advising men on their responsibilities that they have to take. It's not that kind of men conference like we say, oh, the women's conference of empowerment, and then they go and sit there and talk about, oh, how our women are treating us like this, and they're crying every day, because that's what most of the women conference do. No, we want to bring, and that's how the world divides. No, we want to bring our own power because the men are suppressing us. The men will say, oh, the women are doing this. No, on African spirituality, if we bring an expert that is talking about men conference, it is an advisor on how we can build better relationships from the perspective of a man or the king. Exactly. Maponga's wife said it too. African women have to step up and take our responsibilities. What does that mean? We women too have to figure out what are the challenges that, or the trouble that we cause ourselves and our people as females. So, African spirituality in that counseling and topics on women is how we build ourselves and how we complement each other, because we need to advise one another. So, that's, for instance, social topics, marriage topics, parenting topics, topics grooming up our young children, our boys, teaching them how to love one another, teaching them how to treat their women and the women treat their kings. We have never had channels that do that. We have allowed the educational system of foreigners to teach us how to marry, how to wed, when to divorce, when not to divorce, who takes what, who not takes what. That's not the African culture. And this goes on the African spirituality because that's not our values. It's as simple as that. I know it's hard, but we'll get used to the channels as time goes on, and you will love it. This is the biggest innovation that we have brought, and you will see with time how much we are developing and much how happier we are. Okay? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Cheryl is saying African women are coming out. Yes, because we give them the platform. But they're not only coming out to talk about their abuses that they incur, but they're also coming up to get solutions. So we are not going to address, for instance, Cheryl, we will not address the things that are happening to the African women that are speaking up. They would say that on Channel One, like what we had. But when they go to Channel 6 on African spirituality, it will be talking, giving solutions on how they can heal from these traumas, how they can solve their problems by themselves. It's really solution oriented. It's going to be a lot of teaching out there, and people will have to pay to watch these lectures because these are the blueprint of how we are going to operate. These are the blueprints. All these channels are blueprint. What we are talking here is knowledge, general knowledge. But now the blueprint of what we've been talking, our leaders have been teaching. History, Channel 6. Professor James comes on Channel 1, for instance, talk about what he's always talking about, whether it's the political or economic unity of the African. Now you go on Channel 6. Professor James is going to be giving you lectures that you have to pay to be able to better your life. On Channel 6, there would be books that you have to buy to be able to upgrade your life. All these things are things that you all ask us to do. Right, Patrick? I
Yes.
know you're almost tired. We're rounding up. We'll be rounding up
Yes.
shortly.
Let.
So please
Yeah.
go to these channels, subscribe to all. If you subscribe to all these channels, I bet you're already into the business of everything that has to do with Africa. You're already into the solution because in as much as we describe only one, but the whole package of services that will come behind it, we haven't even touched that. We're just giving you a simple caption of what these channels are going to be about. But the real businesses are brought. Just take only agriculture. When we talk about the agribusiness, from land to production, to processing, to selling, to production, to manufacturing, to industries, to feeding, to labeling, to supplying. That's 10. Just agribusiness, just 10. 10. Only in agribusiness. So it's a whole lot. It's not just a one thing.
Yes.
Please go and subscribe to all the channels. Don't just, Cheryl, I know you already subscribe on Channel 6. Channel 6 is almost getting up to 100. That's okay. But now, that's why we decided to say, let's just create all the channels because, Cheryl, somebody like you would have subscribed to all if we had provided you the possibility. But, sweetheart, just go and do it already now. And all of you that are watching me, you're more, close to 80 or 100 watching me right here. Just go and subscribe to all the channels. That's why we package everything on the link tree. On the link tree, you click
Yeah.
into it,
Then.
just all the channels.
Yes.
It will be easy for you.
I've
Wait, there's a
seen
topic here.
Marshall talking. Yeah. Marshall. Before we move to Georgian, we see Marshall talking about his health coming under spirituality. I think the issue of health is so very critical, especially here on this YouTube channel. It has really impacted on community standards because um, there's they're very sensitive in terms of health, giving medical information. So in terms of health, maybe here we need to invite an expert who will speak about health, because if we just decide to go against um, uh, any anything to do with medical issues, they'll rate it as misinformation, medical misinformation, and they'll flag the channel. So maybe the issue of health is so very critical. Maybe we need an expert on that topic, but we can just, in some way, we can just relate with what, especially African culture, African spirituality, and how many African, maybe traditional way of treating uh, our members of the society. But in terms of this health issue, is so very critical, and I saw it even previously during the COVID-19, when most of the content here were flagged because of the information that were being relayed here. So I don't think if it we can measure on that part, that topic of health seriously. Maybe we need an expert on that, so that whenever they give information, they need to be very accurate, because these channels are so very sensitive, especially in on matters health.
Thank you. I think if I might add,
Then,
honestly, we're not going to touch on conservative health issues. It's just as simple. That's why when we say
yeah,
African spirituality and healing, it's going to give us issues like meditations and how it's a spirituality thing. And a spirituality thing
yeah,
we don't talk about conservative medicines. And I think we are not even going to touch that kind of issues because this medical science is not our issue. We're going to talk to traditional doctors, we're going to talk to herbalists. We're going to talk to people with alternatives. Okay, but the most of the healing that when we talk about in African spirituality is healing our spirit. Once your spirit are in line, in tune, every other thing about diseases becomes very simple. And I think that's it. But Patrick has made a very pertinent point. When you talk about health issues, because people don't understand it, it's really going to be only about, the topics like this one that you're talking about, the jab and stuff like that. No, we're not going. That's not our topic, as a matter of fact. But now solutions would come from herbalists and therapies that we do with natural African medicines, or stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe begin to invent some quotations, some quotes, how we describe certain things. Community
yeah,
standards, isn't it,
yes,
Patrick?
very true. Yes, very true. Because the issue of health is so very sensitive, uh, and YouTube is becoming so very interested on that topic. So that's why we need to be very careful on that. Very careful. And even Eugene has also explained about the issue of children. You know, even when we stream it live, we need to choose if the content that we are discussing is suitable for kids. So inviting kids here, they need to have their own channel, parental guidance and all that. So if we invite kids here, we need to have a friendly environment for the kids, and we need to, exposing them and all that. It's so very, we need we need a specific channel for that. Yeah, it's so very sensitive, because if we will let YouTube community, and they'll ban almost everything, because they want to protect the kids and all that. We have very strict rules here concerning kids. So maybe if you can have a channel, specific channel, then we stated that we recommend to YouTube that this one is recommendable for kids, maybe that one. But currently, if we just stream, we go live, then we invite kids having all these talk shows, people might end up even reporting the channel. We have malicious people here on YouTube. They just find an excuse. They just see an opportunity to report the channel. And that's what even we witnessed sometimes back. Somebody reported one of the content here because they saw an opportunity to do it. And when YouTube see the notification, they'll try to go through that content and see indeed this one has violated, and then they restrict. So on matters health, it's so very critical. The kids, maybe we find another way in which we can incorporate the children. It need a lot of research on that, but it's a very good topic for the young kids to understand uh, their culture and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, that's also a very good question, Eugene. And I think you're already answering what he said. Will they be a channel for the children? I think he's actually saying what you're trying to say. Like, yes, we're going to create maybe channel 7 for the kids, because the kids is like cartoons. You understand? They have to do cartoon. It's not about discussion. We're not engaging kids to have conversation, but we have to design cartoons that are culturally and the images are black oriented, and they are cartoons that actually, because kids, they just want to play. What are you going to be talking about with kids? So I think that's a very good point to note it, to see if not to see to integrate a kids channel. We have a lot of them also on YouTube now that are doing only for kids, but what we are saying is to do it for black kids to learn their history, because a lot of the cartoons, that's also one of the topics that we had about racism in the West here, because most of the images that we're representing in these cartoons were always white images, and a white and a black child doesn't see herself in that image. And so now we have Africans, or even not content that are actually um, historical oriented, but in a playful way, in a cartoon, in games, in things that they could sing, even songs. Programming, as we talk about programming, starts from children. And if we succeed to get this new generation that is coming up to understand themselves, we have saved a whole lot of generation in the future. And I think that's a very unique a point that he's saying, that you should consider doing a channel for the kids. And I know a lot of cartoonists, particularly in Kenya. Kenyans do a lot of cartoon for kids. So it's not us that is going to do it. We're only going to put their content on it. If we say we're doing a jumbo jumbo, in a cartoon form for children to listen, to sing, they love it. And that's why the media and this children's book onto children's channel is the biggest ever starting point, to program the brains of the children, what they see, what they listen, what they hear. And I think Pan African Daily really owes that duty. And I thank you, Eugene, for bringing that. I think, Patrick, that makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
Yes, it's very important. For example, if we can liaise with the other team members who are so very interested with the cartoons for kids, because
Yes,
we already know the kind of information that are relevant on YouTube and all that. So it will be so very easy
absolutely.
to incorporate. But
Yes.
for us coming out, uh, eh, uh, then try to share that information, because sometimes we need expertise seriously on that. Yeah.
No, no, no. We're only taking the content of the content creators that are doing a specific
Yes,
things to it, and we
exactly.
stream it. We don't do
Yes,
anything. They only give us the content. We are not doing it, but we have people that are
yes,
producing it. And if it is time,
yes,
they give us their content and they promote it, and we'll be showing it, those cartoons and those playtimes. And it's mostly in the weekends and in the afternoons. That's just a
yes,
time where children can go on Pan African Daily. That's also how we engage them to be Pan African Daily TV followers from children, because we're a family a kind of thing. We already has to do that. We're not doing anything. We're only taking the content from the content creators, and we placed it on that channel for the children to watch. But of course, we're already engaging in every wow. I like
true.
the reflections, things that we never even thought about, Patrick, isn't it?
Yes, that's the beauty of coming out live. Then uh, they come up with very great ideas. Sometimes, like the idea of having kids channel, having the else conversation, and all that. So these are very emerging information that you need to take note on that.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Okay, is there anything that you want to add? I want to see those that have subscribed to these channels as we're speaking right here, because some of us are so comfortable. Even just to subscribe is a problem. Subscription doesn't take you 1 second. It's just a click and subscribe. If you're already subscribed to this Pan African Daily TV channel one, which we have more than 100,200 subscribers, of course, all of you just give us 5% of the subscribers to subscribe to all these other channels, and we'll start going live on it. And we'll start bringing the content producers on it. We'll start bringing the services on it. And so we're taking the next level of building, services, just like how the PLO is doing with his foundation and building institutes and investment platforms. It's the same thing Pan African Daily has to upgrade. We cannot sit here and only be hosting conversation and just romancing people's ears and not giving people the ability to be able to exploit the business sector. He talked about after Africa Free Trade Continental Area. These are all things that are going to come up under the business and on all this channel. Now you want to do business on the 54 countries. Now we're talking about the Free Trade Continental Area. What is that? A lot of people don't even know, because it's just a definition. A free trade continental area is doing business intercontinental from country to country. Now you understand that to do that business process, you need a one visa. That's what we're talking. All the projects that they are putting are projects that are pushing the African Union and the governments to build reforms that would suit to the to that to, so you cannot be talking about a free trade continental area without having to provide a means of travel, isn't it, Patrick? Without having a
Yeah.
one passport, you cannot talk about a free trade continental area, Africa, without talking about a single currency, which is going to be used on the free trade continent. So you see how the policies and the projects influence the policy makers to create policies that will suit the projects that they are already prescribing. So just creating an Africa free trade continental area, because Africans, they create before they think. Oh, now we create a free trade continent, but how are we going to travel to do business with one another? Oh no, that means we need to get a single passport. Oh, okay, we never even thought about that. Now we begin to figure out a way. That's why you see a lot of the countries like East Africa, your country, China, Kenya,
Yeah.
they're doing visa freeze. Haven't you seen in the recent, since
Yes.
2022, 23, and now 24? I don't know, I'll give you the statistics. More African countries are having visa free. It never was
Yes.
happening. Why is it happening? Because of the Africa Free Trade Continental Area. But
Yes.
when we just come
Even
here,
yes.
yes, Ed.
Even to yesterday, the East African government. We are trying to merge the East African uh, community into a one something like a one country, whereby we'll be having a business. It's a business hub where you see having one currency. We have already launched the currency. Yeah, that information we have already posted on Pan African Daily TV. Will get that information, whereby the the East African government so will be having one currency that will
Mhm,
be used for business in East
mhm,
Africa.
mhm,
So the main base is Tanzania. You see, we have the IALA East African Parliament. So these are the ones that are coming up with this initiative, and it's working so
mhm,
perfectly well. So imagine having East Africa having one currency, then we'll be moving forward from East Africa to Southern Africa, then West Africa, and all that. So it's a slow but steady process. It's a slow but steady process. So we experiment here in East Africa and see if it can work. Then
mhm.
we move forward. Yes.
It is going to work, Patrick. Congratulations to East
Yeah.
Africa, because that's the region that is really pushing the Pan African talkatives in the orders to put to action. That is it. Exactly. That's the point. And I think this is worth illustrating and worth teaching for you to understand that every milestone needs a change in the reform to suit that project. I'm still on
Yeah.
Africa Free Trade Continental areas. And I told you already how the visa barriers are already being broken down by e visas. Now, I love the
Yes.
fact that the European Union and the Schengen visas are getting a limitations for Africans. I love it. It's not a problem because this is giving Africans more opportunities to invest and do business on the continent. If they cannot travel to do business in the West, they will do business on the continent. And so they will keep the money on the continent. That's another part of it. But there are also other possibilities in African countries also that are having visa free, to European countries. And Africans should be up to the task of using those possibilities. And this is exactly the kind of knowledge that we are going to put, for instance, on the travel channel. How to travel, where is business operating, what is happening in the stock market, the East African stock market, what is happening in that. Because anything that has to do with travel and tourism is the biggest ever kind of business in the world. There's no business like travel and tourism because travel and tourism is just the term, but the things that they do behind is business. Whether the African leaders are traveling to America for a meeting, it's a business. Moving from Africa to there is a business. So everything is a business. And Africans need to get that. You see why we're asking these questions? Because we have never thought that these are business things. We have always thought about some people that if we were doing fundraising here and charity for somebody that, you will see Africans are comfortable with that because that's how we've been fed. But now we start getting into topic that African thinks, oh, this is hard for me. No, I can take this. Now they start talking about business. It means that no, that is where the business is. To move goods and services from A to B. That's why we order today everything from China because the logistics is in it, the production is in it, the manufacturing is in it. But what we're trying to reverse is do the manufacturer on the continent share it among the continentals, and that's the business. I know this is hard, but we will have to talk and talk and talk, and it will gradually sink. And that's the biggest mind change for Africans to really think business and go business. That's why we have to do this.
Yes.
It is time. Patrick, what does it say to only host conversation for 3 years now? Host speakers that come now and they're even repeating. And most of these speakers now are on the ground doing what they know that Africans need. Put the structures, push the AAU and the leaders to make reforms that would work for the structures that they are putting, whether you like it or not. Because where there is no innovation, there is no policy. This is simple. No innovation, no policy. If we don't have an after, there will be no one Africa. There will be no intertrade. There will be no what is Kenya producing that Ethiopia needs? What is Egypt producing that Cameroon needs? What is Sierra Leone producing that one needs? There won't be any discussion on it. And that's where Africa has been for all its life. But now, bringing a platform like this, that's how we have to catch up the young people. What can you sell from your country to another person? Even if you're selling water, that's water. Don't worry, it's a tea that I put in it. So don't be afraid. It's your water, right? No. What can you sell? What can the young people just sell? Anything that you can sell. If you're selling talks like me, I sell talks. That's a business. Okay. So I think we're really coming up to the point that we begin to break these things, and these channels is the biggest thing that we could have done to you, give you that platform for you to be able to sell, for you to able to bring, like Cheryl is saying, she has a big idea how to do toys for children in the village. Why good, look at that, Patrick, that's a whole
Yes.
business there. We were
Yes.
growing up, carried white dolls, all of us that grew up in the village, and that's how the programming came. all of us in the village, Christmas time, Easter time, all this period, our mothers, when they went to the cities, they bought us white dolls. There was nothing existing like black dolls. And where do you think the programming comes from when we talk about seeing everything that is the same? Why won't you look at the person as a god? But now today, because we're just talking, Africans are creating a lot of black dolls that look like them. And so they can be confident about themselves. Africans are comfortable in their kinky hair. They are like, before we would stretch it, because if I didn't look like you, I'm ugly. Before we would bleach it, because if I didn't look like the image that I used to carry as my doll as a girl, I'm not pretty enough. So these are all the platforms to put the business of who is doing that so that Africans can buy and leave money into their communities. I think we need an applause for this. I mean, somebody has to be giving us money on these channels, on this channel today for bringing out this biggest innovation. But the biggest thing you should just do, go and subscribe.
Yes.
Go subscribe to all.
I can
Cling link
see.
tree, subscribe to all.
Yes. I can see Domezo Travel and Tour Ghana. So uh, that part, that channel of tourism, yeah, and tours fits in, them best.
Yes. Connect with us, Domezo Travel. We're going to give you the platform for your services. This is
Showcase,
what
yes,
we're talking about. Okay. So we're taking another level, and Africans should be able to start learning how to make money, not to die poor, not to complain only about. No, that's what every other government in the West or China teaches their young people, even from kindergarten, teaching them how to make money, how to sell something to somebody. Okay. We're learning late, but it's better late than nothing, isn't it, Patrick? Oh my God. You said you were going to give us a
very true.
presentation of how many hours have we been here almost? But I think it was necessary to record this production about the channels. And so people would just begin to share it. They'll learn a lot from it and what we have said. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you, Mr.
yes,
Emery. So you're a very pretty sister. You too. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Of course. Um, yeah. Patrick, I think we're good to go. But you still owe us to tell us about the different platforms as well. I think we'll be doing it
yes,
in the social media platforms at Pan African
yes,
and our tours and everything. Hmm?
yes. So I'll have to, maybe tomorrow, if you can have time for that, we'll have to discuss about other social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook, and all that.
Yeah. I also think the youth in focus should be ready to come up this, I think, on Tuesday
Yeah,
or something like
they
that.
really need to come in, and also we discuss. Apart from having this live stream, the two of us, we can have all of us on this channel. Then we discuss, we share ideas from different places. Yeah,
Yeah, of course, this one was a correspondent thing. We can discuss it with all of them, but there's going to be a general meeting for us
yeah,
all. So I think
yeah,
if we are comfortable, me, I'm done with my part. Patrick, if you're done, then I could say we might
yeah,
make it a day for tonight. Is it okay?
yes, very, yeah, sure.
Good. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being our guest, Patrick, and explaining
Yeah,
us these platforms. We actually would, I think it's almost midnight there in East Africa.
yeah,
And
past 1 a.m. It's
oh
1
my
a.m. here.
goodness, 1 a.m. No, please, good night. Please,
Yeah,
good
so,
night. Good night, Patrick. Thank you so much.
uh,
Yeah. All
welcome.
right.
Thank you.
Whew. Um, oh, I wanted to do this. Okay, thank you so much. And it was a tough thing to have presented these channels, but we thought it was very, very necessary that we already drop it, and you should start getting used to it. We know a lot of people are getting ready to start work on Monday. Is tomorrow is a busy day, but of course that's what we do on the Pan African Daily TV. We begin to introduce the next level of our conversations of our businesses. For the past 3 4 years, We've been giving information as Africans how to mind their business. We've been giving information on Africans from the diaspora. In the diaspora, our mentors have been actually teaching us, all the professors and the researchers that we've had here. That's not going to change. Okay. Don't be afraid as if we're going to start doing something new, because I know every human being, people are just so scared of change. But what we're doing is preparing you for the change. Now, we talked about having a new Africa. What we're doing is preparing you to embrace the new Africa. If you've been poor all your life, at some point you are comfortable with it. So change to become something else becomes like a difficult process. It's a normal thing in every business, in every company, in every initiative, in every step to grow, whether it's a system. Bringing the world to digitalization was just not something that the leaders of the world thought it on one day to shut down the world. Do you think so? No. They had been preparing our mind, but we were not paying attention. They showed us all these things on movies, in books, in cartoons, and everything. We were not paying attention because, as a normal human being, we're never ready for change. We're always comfortable with the old things that we used to do. So we refuse to grow. So it is really a point that at a certain point, Africans have been bamboozled their poverty until they love it. They embrace it. And it's part of a lifestyle. Like you just be complaining every day, we're suffering, or Africa is a poor country, because you've been taught that for 500 years and more, 1,000 years, that you're poor, that you're nothing, that you can make money, that you can be referred to as a businessman, that you can be good enough for whatever. You've been taught that all your life. You grew up seeing it in your parents. You grew up hearing your parents complaining only about how they cannot do this, how we cannot pay school fee, how we cannot take care of our children. You grew up hearing that. Your parents grew up hearing it from your grandmothers, who had to till the soil with their hoes, and they could not get a safe child delivery or whatever. Our grandmothers grew up learning to know that they can walk only distances to go and fetch water on their head. They have to travel, they have to walk on foot, they have to carry babies on their back, they have to do all that kind of hard work. Who told you for once in your life that Europe, America did not do that? Who told you that? Who told you for once in your lifetime that all the processes that you were taught that you have to be on, the same people that bring that education to you did not go through that process? It will be an illusion to think like that, because every system went through that process called primitivity. Every system went through this the concept of non, how do I want to put it? Like no science, for instance, technology was limited. In the beginning, we were using some kind of big phones, or we went to answer calls on booths and stood there. Today, it's a gadget. You just call, and now we are connected. Yesterday, it was a mega no-go zone when we sat on our screens and watched CNN, and they perform all the magic that we're doing here on Pan African Day. And we were thinking that is something that is coming from heaven. This can never happen. And so when they say they are gods, do you want to disagree? No, because you don't create anything, because you're thought, I create and I feed you. So what about what we are doing is exactly that. You have to be used to embracing the change of being rich, of getting wealth, of being comfortable. Whether the riches comes in terms of material, or it comes in terms of enriching your soul for happiness, whether it comes for you being satisfied with your way of life, everything is just enriching. It's empowering. And it's the beautiful thing that you can have on earth in this structure. The worst thing is to die poor in spirit, because we all do know that the material doesn't even mean anything when you're gone if you don't leave a legacy behind it. So I want to encourage us. The building of this channel is actually taking us to the next level. Give young people what they're looking for. giving ourselves to what we're looking for. We're all searching for happiness in every form. If happiness means to you making money and having your bank accounts full, that is happiness for you. If happiness means I just want a better relationship, that is happiness for you. If happiness means I just want to have my life alone and just mind my business, that is happiness for you. What we do on the Pan African Daily is just to give you all these alternatives for you to be able to choose how you want to make yourself happy. Am I happy getting information about doing business? We give it to you. Am I happy connecting to my roots? We give it to you. Am I happy knowing that I want to get a relationship, or I'm in a relationship, or I'm sick, or I'm confused and somebody is listening to me? We give it to you. That is what Pan African Daily is doing. But because also we don't want to stick in that solution or in that situation of, oh, Africans are always charity people, they always beg, they always do this. We want to create services that will bring us money. Us on the Pan African Daily, for sure, but you also as a consumer, for sure. And that's why we have to build those business to business empowering us so that we can be comfortable. And I think we're doing a very great job to do that. Because you can have the money, but you don't have the services. And that is what Europe and the West have been doing to us, feeding us. We have the money to buy. As a matter of fact, Africa is the richest continent, not minerals. It's because you buy. You can never have been the poorest continent, and China and Europe and everybody produces everything and gives it to you, because your buying potential is huge. So somebody is just saying, I give you money and then you take money and buy what I take from you and I produce and giving it to you. It doesn't make sense maybe now, but just think about it. So that is it. But we want to get into that. We don't want somebody to give us a table. Nobody's going to give us a table. We're going to take our seat on the table. Invite me or not, I'll be there. I'll take my space. That's exactly what you're doing. Build those businesses. We know a lot of people that are creating platforms for who? We know people that are creating even platforms that just put like footages where people shop. These are things we used to buy. Africans are now coming with their music. Before they're creating their platforms, they're doing festivals, they're doing transaction of goods and businesses exchanges. That is it. What else do you want for a new Africa? But if you don't create a platform, you're not going to drive the policies. You're not going to push the policy and the leaders to do a policy that suits those platforms. It's the same thing. If we don't create these channels for you to promote your businesses, to sell your businesses, to advertise your businesses and your know-how, it is bad business for me. It is bad business for you, because you need a platform to sell. I need a platform for sellers. So we are in a buying and seller market. Understand? The most important thing is information, is power, is knowledge. So don't underestimate the work that we are doing here, because when some things broke out, people were buying and had money to just pay and get something. The money was there. You cannot tear that money and eat, but the services were not there. Do you try to figure it? You have money to buy, but nobody is willing to sell to you. Game over. So we have to take into it, all of you that are creating, all of you that are building business platforms, whether in which sector, we have it for you. Languages is a very big topic. The language channel, we're going to be reporting only in the different languages. I heard a reparation ask if we're going to be teaching Swahili. What does it mean, languages? We're not going to be teaching languages, but the news that would be brought on those channels, on everything that we're doing, would be distributed in the different languages. If it's a Swahili speaker, he's going to come there and talk about Pan-Africanism, talk about all these channels, talk about a little bit of Swahili classes and stuff like that. But if you would want to book an extra Swahili class, you already have a mentor right there in front of you. What are you looking for again? Are we going to get people to come and teach us Swahili for free? That is work, because we should be ready to pay for work for people that work for us. But that's the reason we're putting those services for you, so that you can connect with them. Okay. So, but that channel is going to be all languages. Like if we're reading news or there's a breaking news, you go there. Why? Because, like we say, most of our elders, we want to engage them. There are lots of illiteracy on the continent, people that cannot express themselves in the foreign languages that we speak in here. So, but when we break out all the topics into their languages, can you imagine what that is going to be? Teach people how to even travel or this in their languages, or even just teach them things in their community that they are not conscious about. They learn more with their languages. So I think it is very, very, it's a great thing. It's an opportunity for us to take it, share it on our different platforms, subscribe to it, and honestly, you'll see people. Thank you very much, Cheryl. Thank you. I really appreciate your comment. I appreciate your business. I really appreciate it, Cheryl. For you say thank you, Dr. Sata, because if we are not going to make a difference, does not make sense in our family. It is. If we're not going to create the world that we keep talking about every day, we always refer to, oh, look at the Jewish community. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at these other people that are doing this. We always imitate and copy good examples, but the attitude, the change for us to do it is what has been limiting us. And this is the time now. Mhm. Yes. A lot of Africans are doing great things, and you would see. Begin to produce our own, and we begin to put on those channels, and we begin to buy them, and we begin to engage, and we begin to build banks and investment platforms where we give loans to ourselves. Why won't we get money? But the one things that I love about these channels is we want to teach our people really what money is. And that's why I said you would see the advantages and the non-advantages. Being comfortable, you can still be comfortable as being a modest person. So all this is business. The business of being poor is a business as well. Now it only depends poor how? Materially, spiritually, poor because I cannot eat, poor because I don't have shelter or health or whatever. There's a lot of poverty. And today we see people dying and just leaving bunch of monies in their accounts because you can't talk to it. You can't even eat it. I'm sorry. You can do anything with it. So is that riches? We'll have to figure that out. Okay. So we're getting into the core. After we know who we are, what do we do with who we are? Is the next point. We've known a lot about who we are. Now, what we're doing, it became almost as a monotony, doing the same things. The conversations are always the same. Didn't you notice? Because we've already learned the key and the core and the competence, the main knowledge that was revealed to us by our ancestors, and the time and space and everything that we're evolving. We know it already. We know that the world just changed 3 years ago. Who doesn't know? Who doesn't know that everything has just changed? The way people buy, the way people sell, the way people travel, the way people operate. Most of us are operating home offices. Most of us are operating digital businesses. In the past, it never was like that. Okay? So the way we are evolving, but if the system did not push us to that change, there will be nothing. So we need to create businesses and push the politicians to design policies that are actually fitting to our businesses. Okay? Africans, please wake up. Just wake up. Professor PLO said it, but sometimes we admire always the speaker than the message. I don't know why. Most of it, when Professor PLO comes in, we're just happy that he was here. I doubt whether we really digest. Sometimes I look at it like, do we really understand what this guy is struggling to say? Even when he used hard terms and hard vocals and change his narratives, do you get it? Do you understand? Or we need somebody to slap your head so that your brain would balance. And most of the time, it's like we just enjoy. We are enjoyment people. Like he's just there speaking, everybody like, oh, I'm listening now to Professor PLO, on Pan African Daily TV. Oh, I love the questions that you were asking, and I love the answers they were giving. What did you learn? He talked about Africa Free Trade Continental Area as the biggest and the most important. We'll have to restream that conversation. It was so powerful. We had to take this off. We had to sit in the meeting to analyze it step for step, what it means, so that we can break it down into little pieces for you to get it. Another topic that you were talking about, news will come on all the channels. News about traveling, news about spirituality, news about breakups, breaking updates, news about politics and economy. News is all engaged and involved, like Cheryl said. For instance, now we know that Donald Trump is standing again to be a candidate for elections. Africans will be more excited and be talking about, oh, he did this last time. No, it's not nice, because now he is going to be calling our leaders shithole countries. Oh, this Trump is a racist something and this and that. Who cares? Does Trump cares about that? He just cares on how his conversation is changing the political situation that is bringing monies into the coffers of the US economy. Period. Doesn't have your business of black or white or your leaders at this. No, that's not his business. His business is that statement that he makes provokes an economical change that brings so much money to the US government. So what you Africans should be worried about is not if Donald Trump is going to be the president of America. What you Africans should be learning, if Donald Trump becomes the president of America, what kind of policies would he be making that would be conducive to the economy? Is he going to give a free visa and market areas that we can collaborate and do business? Yes. If that is true, what is my business in it? And so you will never find any leader a problem if we think business, because the whole world system is about business. Whether it's the business of refugee, business of migration. If I want more, I ask for more. I cost the wars. If I don't want more, then I do selective and I do for this. So we need to wake up. African Americans, oh, what is Donald Trump? Donald Trump is going to come again and say the same things. I mean, you know somebody already, you want something else. He's going to say we need to continue to build the Mexican wall. A socialist will be there singing, oh, no. But he's just doing a trade barrier economically. So any word that we can talk in terms of social factors like charity, I can break down those same words to you in a business format. So charity is not just free things. Charity is a whole lot of business in it. And charity and initiatives that are running that is a business form. It is not, the government makes money in taxes on it. Why? So we need to be smart. We need to wake up. Any country that has leadership, when we're talking about voting for leaders, you young leaders or voters should always ask, what is my cake in this? If I'm voting you, I give you my one vote. Cheryl asked the question. Now, you a big channel, Pan African Daily, we are all the members on board and the senior executive. What do I have if I subscribe? That is the question I want to hear all Africans ask. Their leaders, their politicians, always ask, what do I have? Ask that question 1 million times. You're going to figure it out for yourself. And somebody will give you an answer. Okay, I will give you this. And then you will give me back this. That's the negotiation already. You don't need to go and study any physics or science or astronomy to just understand. And today we'll be happy. Oh, a black man is an astronaut. And we're just happy that, oh, in his color is an astronaut. So what? That's his business. That's where he earns his bread. I've never seen white people sitting and say, oh, white people now are going to the moon and this and that. No, what every white man is just asking, what is my business in it? How do I get my paycheck out of this? Is it going to create more jobs? And how do I feed it if I'm a job seeker? Is it going to create a more conducive innovation? Is it going to reduce the tax system on the goods we produce or the one we export? That's how Africans should be thinking. And that's the reason for these channels. We're not going to be smoothing and padding you and where, oh, these leaders in this. Oh, Prof said it. The leadership that is undergoing or is undergoing in the other regions where we have the young leaders. I have 2 minutes with you. And Africans are just happy. Oh, now we have a Traoré, and oh, we have a this. Have you ever asked yourself what they're going to bring to you? Always ask, what is my business in it? And you get the answer. Courses. We need to invest in a lot of buying courses. We need to. All these teachings, why we are always turning from one place to the other, is because Professor James will come here, give you the knowledge. To be honest with you, that's just knowledge. You don't have the blueprint to do all this knowledge he's been given to you. Now you're just excited and you go your way and like, oh, wow. Now I listened to Professor James Moore. He was dropping some knowledge. Now, what's the business behind the knowledge? That's the step that we're taking you through these channels. Okay? We have to understand the business behind the world system of making money from you, Africans. Because that's the reason when we always limited, oh, they come and take our minerals. They're taking our minerals. And you end there. And I always ask you, young people, what do you need minerals for? You don't even have the means to process it. What do you need it for? If your problem is hunger that you can't even feed yourself, what do you need minerals for? So you don't need it. Maybe I need to use my smartphone to connect and make money online. That's a business for you right there. And that's where I'll be more concerned. But more concerned how business they're stealing our things, then we don't have job. Who wants to be a jobber now? Nobody. I don't know any African youth that wants to work for anybody in the future. People are building brands. They're coming up with talent. They're creating businesses. Oh my God. The Africa that we want, people will just be buying. What did you have? I did this. And you just, what are you selling? No, I did it. That's how it's going to be. Africa Free Trade Continental Area. I need a music on that. I need somebody to put me these things in some sound that we can dance. Because it's like Africans only understand the meaning of things when they're dancing. I know how you interpret text and lyrics. So we're going to really start putting some of these things into lyrics so that when you hear it, Africa, who is those musicians? Where are they? Have you ever heard anyone come out with a text on Africa continental areas? Because we're not catching it. We're not in the game. We're just surrounding the game and just playing and just talking. But we don't know it. If an artist would have shut that, that means you get it. Okay, so go ahead and think out of the box. What is my advantage of being an African? I'm rich. Yes, and so what? How are you rich? When you're still hustling every day. Oh, I come from the continent with rich ministers. They keep telling you the same thing. Where's your own out of it? Where's your piece of the cake? That's what you have to do to be able to create businesses. Just only ask, how did they make this? And you think for a while, you will begin to figure out. And before you know, you're an app developer. Before you know, you're already selling something. Before you know, you're moving from one community to the other, doing business. Okay. So I want to thank you very much. I told you I had 2 minutes, but I even added two for us because this was very important for us to understand. I don't care whether it's just 5 people watching me here, but I can guarantee you the 5 people are going to be the next billionaires in just no time. If they have subscribed and they're watching me right now, you know what is coming your way. And stop putting your hands every day. Oh, what am I going to do? Oh, we Africans, oh, they are doing this. They are coming. Chinese are coming and taking our job. You don't even have the Moses to fight them. I've never seen any African that has arrested a Chinese and, hook him. And then other Africans are coming and like, what are you doing here? No, I'm just beating him for coming into my country and do this. But we'll stand on the highest platform like, oh, see, there's always baby crying. I'm sick and tired of it. Let's do something. Let's stop all this. That's the world. They're making it and they keep you complaining and crying. No more. I know, Kofi, you said we are more than 5. I'm just giving an example, Kofi. I'm just giving an example. Like, I don't care even I'm not about following. I have millions of followers. I'm tired even of too much. I just want to build the small ones that get it. I want to focus on the small, not that we have thousands here, we have 100,000 subscribers. If the 100,000 subscribers are poor because they didn't get anything, doesn't make anything for me. They're just doing the subscription for YouTube. If I'm not here tomorrow, am I going to carry the 100,000 subscribers and go with nothing? If they can make money and make their life better, I've just been wasting my time. Okay, so let's get to work. It's the new beginning. You're going to hear from us from different sectors. Begin to connect with your guys that are in tourism. If you're doing Airbnb, anything, and you want us to get Africans to promote, not only promote, to visit your businesses, it is your point. What is the need of building an Airbnb and I don't have a budget for advertisement? Yeah, because we Africans are like that. We always build businesses and we forget to put the modalities to sell the business so that the business can get a turnover. Business people put a business budget only for publicity. But we take our own capital and put it into the business all, and then we stay like that and start looking for people to. How many texts I get every day? Tens and thousands of, please, Dr. Tata, can you help me do this? Dr. Tata, can you help me share this? Dr. Tata, when are we going to live on the riches of help me do this? Even you yourself doing it to yourself. It's not fair. And if I continue to do that for you, I'm not helping you. Okay? Because you will never be a businessman based on help me do this. Never, ever. You never make a dime. So you have to learn. You have to, if you build a YouTube channel that is tourism, come to Pan African Daily and say, oh, I have my YouTube channel that is tourism. Dr. Tata, how much does it pay me to promote my YouTube channel on you? Because, this is Africa-oriented service platform. We put our money where our mouth is. We consume made by Africans. Okay? So all of you doing brands and everything and keeping your monies behind, you're wasting your time. And you wonder why you're not getting customers. Because you're not in the business now. I build business. I do designs now. I want people to buy. I have to be in the platform where people sell. And Africans have too much money to buy, particularly Pan-African Daily TV followers. Do you think we're poor? Have too much money, but there are no services. We hear people asking, Dr. Tata, when are we going to have services? So where can I buy this? Where can I do this? Okay, so we're going to put that. Put money in your advertisement and you see your business grow. You don't want to give money to us, the media and stuff like that, but you only want to... No way. Now we're building the channels for you. Okay, so good night to you, my sweet people. We will get back to you tomorrow. I think Youth in Focus will be getting ready. If not, I think we'll be hosting some youth from the PLO Lumumba Foundation. And yeah, so our conversations are going to not change. Are not going to change, sorry. Interviews with our lecturers, it's not going to change. It's going to happen on channel this channel teach. Exactly. Now you are there. Okay, thank you. Peace and love. Sherry, you said we must teach our people business ethics. Of course. How do you teach it? Sometimes being practical is just the teaching. Teaching doesn't mean we have a drawing board and be telling people. They don't get it. That's why you go to school. You get unemployment to do what you learn. Teaching them is just to say, pay for your advertisement. It's enough teaching. Pay for your subscription to be able to watch a very good a solution to your business. Africans have to set a budget for that. And most of it do not. It's not even expensive to do it. But even have teachers to teach us. And we have a lot of knowledgeable people, business experts, how they've made it. Africans who go and watch other people because they don't have their own role models. Bring your teaching classes here, we'll sell it for you. A lot of Africans are doing that. Okay? Bring your language classes here, we would brand it for you. Africans will learn. We are the #1 platform in the world for broadcasting and for promotions and for exposure and for marketing Africa. I say it again. We are the #1 newest, fastest growing platform for promotion, okay, broadcasting, okay, awareness, exposure, and branding Africans, made by Africans. No one is going to beat us. Don't cry. I hear somebody say so many tears all these days. Now we have to pay. Of course, don't cry. Don't share no tears. It's just a fact. I have to bring it really as it is to you so we can begin to get that thing. Okay? We can begin to get it going. Save your money. Put it where your mouth is. Promote your businesses on Pan African Daily and come and thank us for giving you the service to do that. Okay? Thank you. So what do we have here? Nothing else. Good night. Tomorrow we'll be live. Okay, we mean it. This time we'll be live on this conversation. So good night to all of you. Bye-bye. You are watching the Pan African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherlands calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.